You caused a kundalini awakening within this person with the energy of the tower. This is something where all of their senses, their energetic body has been activated, not just through sex, but through encountering you in the flesh, your energy, your aura, your voice, your presence. It might have even been an experience of very temporary exchanges between the two of you that stirred something to life within this person. This can definitely indicate like a past life soulmate connection, a divine counterpart, higher level soulmate, something that is far beyond just like an ordinary connection, because of this very palpable effect that you have had upon them, that you started to have upon them from the moment that you met. This could definitely be somebody that if you were to ask them, they might at this point in time be like, yeah, this was love at first sight, and I didn't fully understand the nature of what that meant. A switch was flipped and everything tumbled down in this person's perception of love, their understanding of what it meant to connect with people. It feels like this is somebody who has been grappling kind of with their assumptions about partnership, about you, about themselves, releasing a lot, and up leveling in a very fast way. This person could have been going through a lot of ascension symptoms, looking around at the life that they have been living up to this point in time and starting to recognize that although it might be satisfying, there is some kind of desire or craving for a life of more meaning. This is somebody that is working very diligently behind the scenes to get certain things in order to prepare themselves, prepare their life, prepare their energies and their emotions to welcome a connection with you in more fully. This is somebody that might have been very overwhelmed, very caught off guard by this experience of a kundalini awakening, especially for those of you where this person wasn't really focused on spirituality, didn't even know anything about kundalini energy, kundalini awakenings, chakras, like all of that could have just been foreign to them. It wasn't in their database. It wasn't in their vocabulary. For a lot of people though, this has set this person upon some kind of spiritual journey of discovery. They've been seeking answers. Why has this person had such an effect upon me? What is happening to me at this point in time? It feels like in addition to just feeling very like drawn to you in that sacral chakra energy, this is somebody who is very inspired to create. You have activated their creative center. So this can look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Again, kind of like looking around at the life that they're living. How can I improve certain things so that I feel like I am making the most out of my life journey? This could be somebody that's asking big questions, something where some people might almost be like they're having a midlife crisis, an existential crisis, or there's just kind of this like desire for something more. The ordinary just isn't satisfying them anymore at this particular point in time. For others, this has been a very kind of like drastic experience for this person. It really caught them off guard. They've needed to kind of take a step back from certain things in order to create balance for themselves. So any kind of distance or silence between the two of you, it feels like this person's energies and on various levels themselves have been calibrating to this experience of what has been activated within them in order to kind of bring them up to a higher frequency in order to be able to connect with you more consistently, more deeply, and in a more meaningful way, not just emotionally, not just on a 3D level, but energetically speaking. This is also the energy, though, of something that this may kind of represent, sort of like a catalyst moment. Yes, this could be like a soulmate or a divine counterpart, but you've also functioned as like a catalyst for this person, a catalyst for some aspect of awakening. You've awakened this dormant kundalini energy inside of them. So now they are seeking answers. Now they are starting to focus more on spirituality. That could be part of a soul contract between the two of you, in addition to ways in which they may have, explored or tried to prioritize their well-being in a material sense, in an emotional sense, in a mental sense. Now that focus also includes their spiritual wellness, their spiritual balance. This can be the kind of person that has taken up a meditative practice, perhaps yoga. Maybe they're exploring Eastern philosophy, kundalini and kind of kundalini activations, and that energy itself being a very kind of predominant part of belief systems that aren't necessarily, originating from the Western world or kind of newer within sort of Western understanding. So this person's almost kind of like seeking out sort of like ancient knowledge, more deeply entrenched kind of practices. This is somebody that's not stopping at just kind of like new age spirituality for an explanation, but this may really be something where their curiosity has been piqued. They can't unfeel what they are feeling at this point. They can't unsee kind of like the shift within themselves, how this has changed their perspective, how they feel in their own body, how they're relating to the world around them, and kind of like the life that they were living. And so for some of you, this is somebody who's definitely like on a side quest for answers at this point. If they've taken a step away from this connection, it feels like when this person resurfaces or reemerges, there's going to be like an obvious change within them. Maybe things that they weren't really focused on or talking about before, and they come back with like all of this knowledge where it's pretty evident then to you, this wasn't just somebody who let fears get the better of them. This is somebody who's actually been kind of like improving themselves, bettering themselves. A door has been opened through that kundalini activation, through that kundalini fire that is like torchlight leading this person forward into the realm of like personal development and evolution on an energetic level, on a spiritual level, and then as that kind of trickles out into their material world as well. And they can trace that back to you. This isn't just somebody that is kind of like, okay, I feel very overwhelmed and I don't know what's happening. Let me kind of run off in the other direction. They know that it's like, I met you, everything changed. I connected with you, everything changed. We started having like interactions with one another, and I could feel something inside of me changing, not just emotionally I started catching feelings for you, or visually I found you very attractive. Intellectually our encounters are very stimulating. This is somebody that like beyond all of those facets and factors, this is somebody who has recognized like there's a part of me that is now active, that is online, that is a part of kind of the dominant aspects of who I am at this point moving forward. I can't shut it off. I don't want to shut it off. And so now the only question and the only kind of solution really is to dive fully into that, to explore that, to expand their pathway in life with this kind of energy that has been lit up inside of them through encountering you, not through anything you said, not through anything you did. This isn't anyone that feels like, hey, you were tampering in my energy, like, what did you do to me? But there is the sense of like, you have had such a profound effect upon me, like, what did you do to me? This is next level. This is something that feels very significant. This is something that this person recognizes there's like a preparation process or things that they need to kind of like grasp for themselves or kind of get a handle on, something about this energy within them that they need to master, that is kind of clearing away dense vibrations, belief systems. This is somebody who's going through like a profound spiritual awakening, and it's something where they look to the experience with you with gratitude. This is somebody who's very enthusiastic to be able to take steps forward towards you. Because there's a sense of like, I know that something between the two of us can connect on a deeper level. I know that when the door of love can be opened fully between the two of us, this will be an experience that I will be walking into and you will be walking into that is unlike anything I've ever known before. Not just you're so different from anybody I've met or known, or you represent like a better choice in love than I've made in the past. Like beyond all of those things, there's something within this person that feels very drawn to the experience of you, like a moth to a flame, but also feeling that it's almost kind of you're the right person to connect with. The more that they sort of like further this experience, this development within themselves, this aspect of discovery, and how they kind of learn to work with that like kundalini fire, that kundalini energy inside of them, which will be different for everyone, kind of like what that looks like, how that is kind of like a force for change, like change for the better for them. They equate that with something that kind of leads to this place of like a deeper, more meaningful connection, something that, they've never maybe contemplated the idea of like a spiritually based connection. Aside from belief systems, that idea of spirituality now takes on a new meaning. It's like they feel you energetically, but the way in which, when they're in your presence, when they're looking into your eyes, when they're talking to you, or if you've been intimate with one another, like the sex with you is next level. And there is somebody that feels like this is more than just appealing to my ego or the surface level. This is kind of the first exploration of a spiritually based connection with somebody. I never knew such things were possible. And now that I've had a glimpse of that, or a taste of that, or an inclination of what is to come or what can happen, this is something where they're like, yeah, I'm totally on board. I'm enthusiastic. I want to learn as much as I can. I want to do whatever I need to do to kind of ride this wave of intensity through kind of whatever my life has looked like in various ways up to this point in time, and to participate with this very shaping experience so that I come to the right place within myself to align with whatever it is that is kind of like happening with you as well. Because maybe you've talked about this a little with one another. There have been like hints or suggestions or little innuendos or things where if they're like observing, watching you from afar, maybe, they notice perhaps, you're somebody that's very spiritually minded, or they can just sort of see or sense that. Maybe you had your kundalini awakening before you met this person, or this could be something that has happened, for the two of you simultaneously, but they feel very drawn to you, not just kindred spirit energy, but almost the sense of like whatever is happening to them, this kind of like next level version of them, it coincides very beautifully with what they sense is kind of the trajectory that you are on, or the frequency that you're operating on very naturally. That without meaning to, you kind of plug this person into that frequency. And this may be something where you've awakened other people. You've induced kundalini awakenings within others. People you dealt with in the past that might have gone through that could have just run for the hills. They ran from their own reflection. Maybe the purpose of those connections was simply for you to be an activator, simply for you to be a catalyst. And so it feels like in this circumstance, there may almost be kind of some apprehension on your part, like, great, okay, another person that I've awakened or I've activated, and they've taken a step back. Probably not going to hear from them again, just like all those other folks or individuals, or it'll just be something where, they come in and then they pull back again. It's something where it feels like you might, even at that idea of like a kundalini activation, kundalini awakening, that might be something that's sort of like, you're at a point where you're like, yeah, I've been down that road with people before and it doesn't really work out to my advantage. This person is different. This is somebody that is not afraid to like walk through that fire, that is not afraid to kind of like do whatever they need to do personally, energetically, actually in their life, in order to continue to kind of like rise up into what it feels like the process of almost like this person has now been christened as a divine masculine or a divine feminine. You have activated that part of them, and it's a very kind of like clear path to that, even if they don't define it as such, although some might be exploring that idea of, like soulmates, twin flames, divine feminine, divine masculine, all of that. And it's resonating with them. It's resonating deep inside, not just with their lived experience, but like, yeah, this feels like this is something that I was always meant to awaken to. I was always meant to rise into this version of me, not from a place of ego, but from a place of kind of like everything that doesn't fit the reality of that archetype is burned away. And what remains is that higher vibrational divine essence. All of that, it feels like, is something that even if you were to introduce those terms to this person, they would wear that title very comfortably. Maybe not at first, but that's part of the kind of like acceleration process. So this person definitely has like their sights set on you as somebody who they recognize energetically and actually aligns with this kind of like leveled up version of them, because you've activated something within. And so unlike previous people that might have been the case with, this is not the type of person that's going to like run from their own shadow. They are continuing to like take steps forward towards you, even as they may be on like a journey of exploration and trying to kind of just get their bearings in the midst of this powerful and profound process of awakening that is happening for them at this time. We also have the King of Wands. Yeah, so this person definitely sees that you are the type of person that energetically or actually you represent kind of like a higher experience in romance, in partnership, in connection with another human being than they have ever known was the case before. This is something where it's almost like you are sending out a signal to this person, or your energy is sending out a signal to this person that's like a homing beacon as they are going through the process of kind of creating order out of chaos within themselves, and as they are like looking around at their life at this point through this like illumined perspective that is the result, it is the byproduct of this kundalini awakening, as that kundalini energy is kind of like cleansing and balancing out their chakra system, making them aware of that in a deeper way, or for the first time, like whatever that looks like. It's going to be different for everyone, how this person's like interior and exterior world expands in some sort of way through this experience of what has been activated within them through you, through first contact, through a series of interactions, maybe through sex, maybe through even just the potency of this chemistry between the two of you and the lingering effects that has had upon them on like a deep level, on an ancient, almost like soul level or cellular level. This is somebody that is going through a process of metamorphosis at this time, and they see you as kind of not just the light at the end of a tunnel, but it's almost like the light that is kind of a frequency. You're holding some kind of frequency that they are elevating towards. Every step that they take towards, even sort of satisfying their curiosity, thinking outside of the box for solutions, maybe even fears they could have had at first, like, sort of the negative side of, what did you do to me? I feel so weird. I feel so different. I'm, shaken from the version of myself that I was prior to you coming into my life. Like there definitely could have been that energy or experience of recoiling, the intensity of this experience between the two of you on an energetic level that made them kind of like take a step back. In the midst of all of that, they keep returning to this awareness of sort of like the light inside of me. I see that inside of you as well. And it feels like they are definitely in a place right now where they have like successfully navigated through a lot of kind of like fears, irrational fears, or, things that just kind of like were the product of like not understanding this being a totally new experience, something unexpected, something they weren't looking for, weren't anticipating, had no knowledge about, no preparation for, almost kind of something that happened very spontaneous without either of you meaning it to. Maybe you recognized, you felt that as well, but this person certainly felt it a lot deeper than you did. And again, this may be something that for, who you are as a person, you may be sort of like used to this, where you are on your journey. Like you've activated other people before, or you've had this experience of, these deep and intense connections, maybe like false twin flames you were dealing with, different kind of karmic partners where it's like something awoke within that person, and rather than them kind of like choosing to follow that light forward to a deeper connection, they sort of like veered off into other realms, or chose to remain aligned to their shadow. Maybe it was experiences with other people where that was the sole purpose of the contract, you to activate, you to awaken, them to model to you like the need for self-love, to not chase people who are unwilling to participate with you by participating with their own kind of like urge for personal growth and development that was stimulated by encountering someone of a higher frequency, of a higher vibration. A lot of you came into this lifetime perhaps awakened, already carrying that higher vibration. Whatever your life or your spiritual path, your experiences have looked like, you definitely amplified your frequency beyond the ordinary person. This is almost the energy of kind of, something where you carry like a very strong anointing to you. There's almost like an otherworldly energy to you that when you encounter certain souls, certain individuals, it may have been your appointed purpose in their life to kind of model that sort of flash in the pan kind of energy to these people that then change the direction of their narrative arc as a soul, or in this lifetime, maybe if that even meant kind of running in the opposite direction from you, pushing back, being very kind of aggressive and trying to just sort of shut out that light, shut out that momentary reflection, shut out that recognition of kind of like everything inside of them that they had disowned, or things that were kind of like a frequency that they are then sort of tasked to, or have the opportunity to cultivate within them. unlike those kind of people that you've encountered before, where it may have just been you felt like you lost out in that circumstance. They gained a kundalini awakening and activation. You gained a lesson in self-love. This person is different. This person is like, looking at the situation with you as much as they might have backed off. And there's a sense of kind of like this next level of me can understand you more beyond just kind of like things about you that were very different to me. It's something on an energetic level where this person is like participating with this. They are doing the work, and that'll look different for everyone. This is somebody that is moving beyond those dense, lower vibrational, trapped frequencies, energy blockages. Like every single day or very regularly, this person is leveling up in some sort of way. It feels like if there's total silence when this person speaks, because it doesn't feel like it's if, it's when. When this person speaks, you're going to notice that. There's going to be something in the tone of their voice that is different, something in their energy that is different, things in their life that are profoundly different, that don't involve tower moments and like things collapsing, but something where it's almost like very conscientious steps to kind of turn the page in their life in a different direction. Something that they may credit you as the inspiration of, either the experience with you, something you got going on in your life that has motivated them to change, or even the fact of like, since I met you, everything was different. These are the things that have changed. This is somebody that is becoming more and more emboldened every day, more and more comfortable within kind of the phenomenon that is happening to them. They are not fighting against it any longer. They're not pushing against it or thinking of it as a negative thing. They've tapped into that positive frame of mind, that positive frequency. This is change for the better. This is somebody that is excitedly riding that wave of kundalini energy. This is somebody that is very curious about how that kind of relates to one another. Your soul connection, even at a distance, how they feel that. This is something where if you feel this person's energy, they're not like pulling upon you in an effort to just kind of siphon your light. This is something where it's like, I recognize that there is some almost kind of like plasmic cord between the two of us, something on the quantum level that doesn't have to do with low vibrational entanglements. It doesn't have to do with kind of like manipulative cords between people. It's something that is a bridge to that higher realm of connection. And I see it and I recognize it, and it's perceived by me in different sorts of ways. And so I will speak into that, into the hopes that it reaches you. I will feel into that in the hopes that you feel me here with this openness, with this clarity, with this like, I'm coming towards you, not as kind of like a promise to keep you waiting, but as a sense of like, I am energetically and actively making my way closer to you every single day. This is somebody that's like, I see the light, I see what you have activated within me, I see you and the possibilities between the two of us as the potential for like change for the better, not just romantically speaking, but this person feels like you represent kind of like the right person, or like a good person, a necessary person to kind of like have in their life at the next phase, at the next level, at the next chapter of their experience. This is somebody that is becoming more and more kind of comfortable within that sort of experience energetically between the two of you. And again, this is like divine masculine energy. This is divine feminine energy. This is somebody that would get to the point of like wearing that title very comfortably, not as a place of like feeding the ego, but as some kind of understanding that this is an experience that is beyond the ordinary. This is exceptional. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.